The concierge text that should have missed me. The night a chatbot said 1211. At 9:02 p.m., the hotel texted me about a room I didn't book. The message came through on the old iPad that lives on our kitchen counter, the one we use for recipes and playlists, and the occasional argument we trust the browser history to forget. Hi Evan, this is Aster Assistant. Your extra towels are on the way to room 1211. Anything else I can bring? It included a cheerful emoji I didn't recognize from the professionalism section of Life. Julian had left at 8 with the jacket that flatters him even when the day hasn't. Wrap toast, he said, which is two words that pretend they can lift glassware and loving at the same time. Quick notes, maybe a drink. Don't wait. He kissed me in the doorway with the accurate gentleness of a signature. We share too many logins, loyalty programs, a ghost Gmail for coupons, that one messaging app we linked to both numbers when we couldn't get a verification code to behave. Convenience likes to leave doors ajar. I wiped a wet hand across the message until the screen understood I was the kind of adult who taps the tiny the thread unfurled above a handful of earlier unread chirps. Welcome to the Aster, Evan. Pro tip, scan your room key for elevator access. Would you like turn down at 9? There was also a receipt for lime pie and 2 bourbons signed to room charge. The pie was on me. The math was not. If you've never had a chatbot greet you by a name you share with a person you love, it feels like finding an extra seat at your table and realizing the place card is hand-lettered in your handwriting. I dried the cutting board I didn't need to be drying and set it down like you set down a question you don't trust yourself to ask yet. The Aster is a 12-minute walk from our place if the city minds its lights. I made it 10 because decision is a solvent. The lobby smiled the way renovated lobbies were taught. Brass that never oxidizes, plants that hold their spine, a fragrance named something like late citrus that knows exactly what it's doing. A pianist in the corner practiced being unblameable. The concierge looked at me with the practiced mercy of a person who counts secrets like tips. I didn't ask for directions. Elevators forgive a lot when you remember how to hold your shoulders accountable. On 12, the carpet hushed the part of me that rehearses speeches. I stopped 2 doors short of 1211 because I am not a headline and I am not brave. I am a man practicing the correct tempo for air. I texted, "Tea when you get home." Offering beverages is how I translate anger into something that can sit in a cup. 3 dots appeared, did a timid dance, disappeared. Returned as if the courage on the other end had to check its ID. Maybe. Don't wait, might go late. Read. The handle of 1211 clicked with that brand of kindness metal learns in hotels. A rectangle of warm light widened. Julian stepped into the hall with the careful surprise of a man who knows his own reflection has been acting lately. He closed the door behind him with the tenderness he usually reserves for other people's books, not ours. "Evan," he said, my name with a receipt softness. "The Aster and I are on speaking terms," I said, because jokes are the leash I use to keep panic from rushing traffic. "It thinks I'm you. It thinks towels are on their way to us." His gaze found the moral gravity near his shoes. Men store unpracticed honesty there. "Not here," he said. "Not beside numbers." He nodded down the hall. "Smoker's Terrace by the service stairs." The terrace was a glass rectangle suspended over the hotel's lungs. Gray ductwork hummed like the city practicing its excuses. A small round table waited like a witness who'd been coached. An ashtray tried very hard to avoid metaphor. Julian put his hands on the rail and then opened them as if unfolding a plan he had no intention of assembling. "I lied when I left," he said. Rap happened. The part where everyone has a better version of goodbye happened. And then I told myself I needed 30 minutes with someone who doesn't invoice my laughter. Who? I asked, because names are handles. You hold on to one when the room tilts. Mark, he said. Sound, he hears things I turn down. Are you sleeping with him? There isn't a synonym that keeps your dignity. You keep it by saying the ugly version without decoration. No, he said, quick, clean. Then lower, the honesty that knows exactly which muscle will bruise. I brought my mouth. We let the weather pick a temperature and respected it. A housekeeper stepped onto the terrace, recognized the shape of a conversation dressed for surgery, and retreated with professional mercy. Somewhere below, a door sighed like an edited line. I'm not your bouncer, I said, and I refuse to be your docent. Those are the only two job postings people hand out when they hear marriage and panic in the same paragraph. What do you want? He asked. Not theater contours. 30 days where we only decide in daylight, I said. We put a curfew on heavy at 9:30. If a choice can bruise, it waits for coffee. 2 nights a week belong to us, cheap or fancy, loud or quiet, it doesn't matter. We leave the house and cheat on the routine. Phones go boring again. No lock screen previews chewing our throats. No auto logins volunteering our location. No cheerful bots delivering housekeeping to my kitchen. We audit email, calendars, delivery apps, loyalty points. We pull up the routes convenience grew without our consent. And tonight you go home with me. He nodded once, a hinge remembering its job. 5 minutes, he said. Count with your lungs. In the service stairwell, a runner hustled past with a bus tub and the competence of someone who knows how to be present without attending. The door to 1211 opened again. Mark came down with a jacket folded like a well-mannered thought. He met my eyes for exactly the duration decency requests. He didn't apologize, and I didn't deputize. I did not hate him. Hatred is heavy furniture. We rent a small apartment. Julian returned with his mouth reset to factory settings. I told him I was misusing beginnings, he said. I told him thank you and good night. We took the back elevator because mirrors hadn't earned our trust. In the lobby, the piano found a chord for people choosing continuity. Outside, the weather minded its own business with admirable restraint. At home, we sat on the kitchen floor because chairs are juries. I tore the blank half of a utility bill, the sacred stationery of couples who mean it, and wrote RULES in block, letters the way a child titles a drawing of a house. We drafted the list that embarrassed us into sincerity. Thursday belongs to us. We go somewhere that isn't a screen. We order the cheap thing with the pretty name and decide it's enough. Decision curfew 9:30. If it can bruise, it gets a morning. Phone modesty. Do not disturb at 8. No lock screen previews. No apps introducing us without consent. Audit, unlink, unsubscribe, unwhatever. Revoke the permissions convenience stole. Paid ears. Every other week, no applause for metaphors, 3 actions due by Thursday. Deliberate uselessness. Weekly, jingle for the kettle, a glass crossing the room without hands, a single step on 4 kitchen tiles. Bench by the river. We let the water lie about being Paris and forgive it immediately. Julian scrolled through the settings that confuse attention with love and turned each one off like a small, important lamp. He typed the sentence cinema dislikes because it refuses spectacle. Thank you for the attention. I'm choosing my marriage. Please don't contact me. He put his phone face down, then face up. Transparency is rehearsal, not revelation. We slept badly and near, the way you do when your bravery clocked out early. Morning made all our late urgency non-billable. Coffee forgave us. Julian wrote in the rap chat, debrief tomorrow, not tonight. I need useful silence. No one asked useful for what. The first Thursday lived under community center lights that prefer honesty to charm. A teacher in yellow sneakers with a bell-shaped laugh taught us to count a swing step out loud. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I stepped on his foot. He swore like a patient editor, and then he touched my elbow with the tenderness of someone recalibrating a compass. We split a donut we didn't deserve and forgave ourselves faster than we forgave the mirror. Week 2, my hand kept finding the phone the way a tongue interrogates a sore tooth. He admitted he almost re-enabled join known networks, auto. We practiced not doing that and rewarded ourselves with nothing anyone could photograph, which is a habit I recommend. There were nights when the sync auditioned for metaphor and we refused to cast it. We carried plates on our heads to the couch and declared victory nowhere. There were Saturdays when the Aster rehearsed its reflection in my feed with expensive fonts that believed in destiny. I pulled the screen down like a curtain. The ad agreed to be a rumor. Week 3, we taped a photo to the wall that had been waiting in a drawer for a frame and a kinder version of us. It's the one from the summer storm. Us and 3 strangers under a storefront awning. Faces bright with the kind of weather that edits you down to the part that needs a nap and the part that keeps watch. The magnet shaped like a banana did its quiet sacrament. The rules collected creases like a flag remembering the wind. The kettle auditioned theme songs, and we let it keep the one that made the apartment tilt toward okay. Week 4, we turned everything off for an hour. We put our phones in a mixing bowl as if restraint were a recipe. We told each other stories that don't live anywhere else. The time he fell asleep behind a curtain and woke to applause. The time I bought a train ticket to the wrong city and let the mountains explain me. We laughed in the voice people use when they like the sound of their own honesty. On day 30, the assistant tried again, cheerful as a maitre d' who refuses to learn nuance. "Turn down at 9, it asked. "Would you like your room refreshed?" I tapped stop and typed "not tonight" into a small box that will never learn mercy. The kettle sang in a key the apartment hadn't tried before. Steam is an optimist. We borrowed a little. Here is what didn't happen. We didn't upgrade into the kind of men who no longer hear a notification as a ghost. Here is what did. We became the sturdier edition of who we already were, the 2 people who can tell a system no and tell each other still. Last night he came home with the kind of tired that wears the jacket of a stranger and makes it look like a choice. He held up a paper bag like a treaty. "Lavender ice cream," he said, "the flavor that believes in small miracles." We ate it by the river, coats open, because the rules didn't say warm, they said present. Tonight he leans on the kitchen doorway with a book pressed to his ribs like a second heartbeat. "What do you want exactly?" he asks, without Dacre. I almost say the past resized. I don't. "You," I say, 6 counts, 4 tiles, bread tomorrow we cut with 2 hands. He smiles with that grave joy that chose me when there were other elevators. The city refrains from commentary. The kettle keeps its promise. If a chatbot or a calendar or any polished rectangle tries again to tell me where I belong, it can learn what the paper on our fridge believes, with its creases and its magnet and its sincerity. It isn't the towels, the QR, or the room number that decides belonging. It's the door, and tonight it opens from the inside.